Hello, my lovely students. I hope that you guys are well today and having a good day and enjoying assignment 2, formative assessment to F2. Welcome to this class. Unfortunately, there are no delicious graphics to engage you with the eyes. This is mostly just about the boring marking template, the rubric, and then also your answer template. But if you go through this, it will definitely help you to be able to do well in the assignment. So that's really important. So on that note, let's get started. Okay, so the question, as you know, we're busy with assignment 2. Question 1, which is all about MyFM, and this is specifically question 1.4, which reads as follows. I'm quoting directly from your answer or from your question paper. How can MyFM use targeted and performance-based advertising to their benefit? Substantiate with theory and 3 different examples. Okay, and this is for 10 marks. Okay, so this is now us going through this, and we're going to discuss these bits and pieces. Okay, so you can see over here, what we have is recommendations in the on the left-hand side, and then you can see over here it says make suggestions as to how the radio station can use 1, targeted, and 2, performance-based advertising to help them reach their ultimate goal, which is to stay in business, as you guys know. Use your creativity to come up with ideas, and then back those ideas up with theory. Okay, so guys, a good answer would probably need to be, well, would need to include either 2 examples of targeted advertising and 1 example of performance-based advertising, or the other way around. So 2 examples of performance-based advertising and 1 example of targeted advertising. Now, when I spoke to one of the students last week, they came up with a very interesting question. They said, Rob, should this answer be from the perspective of the advertiser, or should it be from the perspective of the radio station? And I said, well, that's a very interesting question. To be thoroughly comprehensive, you could do from both perspectives, but it wouldn't necessarily need to be from both perspectives. You wouldn't be marked down if you just chose one or the other. So now you might be asking, what exactly does that mean? The perspective of the advertiser or the perspective of the radio station? For example, a radio station can also advertise. Okay, so you could say, if I'm going to use performance-based advertising, okay, to help the radio station, how would I do that to help them reach their goal? Or, from the perspective of the advertiser, how would I be able to use performance-based advertising to help them reach their goal? So, if you were a radio station that was advertising on a billboard, for example, and you could make that recommendation if you wanted to, you could say, we're going to advertise on a billboard, and we're going to put the billboard on the N1 highway near our community. Let's assume that your community is Alex. I'm not saying that it is. It could be a piece of Soweto, it could be Diepkloof, it could be Protea, it could be Meadowlands, it could be Orlando, it could be Sandton, it could be Midrand, it could be somewhere in Pretoria, it could be in Polokwane, it could be anywhere. I mean, it needn't be the whole of Pretoria, it needn't be the whole of Polokwane, it could be smaller, more intimate spaces. Remember, this is a community radio station. But let's say, for example, for the sake, and remember, you can choose if you want to do to contextualize and say, because remember, the assignment doesn't give you those details. You could contextualize and say at the beginning, for the purpose of my assignment, I am going to make the assumption that this is, MyFM is an Alex-based community radio station, because obviously Alex is close to Boston. So, you know, it would be just down the road for you guys. Or you could make it Sandton if you wanted to. Or you could make it, you know, like a college-based radio station, like what you guys have got at Boston, BMH Radio. Okay, so what you could do then is you could say, you put this advert on the N1, this billboard, and you're advertising for people to advertise on the radio station. Or say, tune into MyFM 103.5 FM or whatever it is, and then you get people to, and then maybe you get, you create a story around that. So you could do that. That is possible, and then you would need to build up an answer based on that. In terms of targeted advertising, you could do the same. You could set yourself a goal. You could run a campaign where you could measure the effectiveness of promoting the radio station using some sort of performance-based advertising. And you could probably do that using social media like Facebook or maybe TikTok or YouTube, one of those things where you could measure the number of click-throughs you got on your adverts to promote the radio station. So guys, that wouldn't be wrong. The answers that we've given you here, though, are more focused on from the perspective of the advertiser. And the reason for that is because it ties in closely to the question. If you have a look, the way the question is structured at the very beginning, the way they set the question up at the beginning, they specifically give you a whole bunch of information at the beginning. So for example, they say in the question paper, the current situation includes allocate more time to advertising as this would increase revenues. So we're looking at it from the perspective of the advertiser on the radio station for the benefit of the advertiser because they can get to promote their product or service or idea, but from the perspective of how it will help the radio station to their benefits to increase revenues. Because at the end of the day, remember we discussed this in class, the only way radio stations make money is through advertising. That's really the only source of income that they have. So you have to balance those two very delicate elements, as do most media, even YouTube today and other media as well. How do you balance those elements of having advertising which doesn't annoy people versus creating content that draws people in but won't keep the radio station afloat or your social medium or your channel afloat? Okay, so that's really important to keep that in mind. Oh, crumbs, I don't know why this thing has gone. Oh, crumbs, it's gone into next slides. Oh, hell. Okay, whilst I've not been paying attention. Sorry, it's gone into next slides. Okay, let's go back. How do I go back? Oh, crumbs. Okay, let me see. Oh, dear. Let me see if I can do this. I don't know why it moved on. And I'm not going to go back and edit it again. Let me just see. Ooh, crumbs. I don't know. I don't know how this is working. Okay, this is all new to me. Let me see how I can go back. Does this go to the next slide? Okay, let me quickly go back to the next slide, then come back